What if the secret to changing your life was hidden in the pages of a book? Believe it or not, reading the right books can transform your mind, your habits, and even your future. In fact, studies show that people who read regularly are 2.5 times more likely to become successful than those who don't. Yet, despite all the power books have, 27% of adults in the US never read a single book after high school. This video is all about the 6 books that completely changed my life. But these aren't just any books, they're game changers. They helped me reshape my mindset, habits, and even my purpose. In the next chapters, I'll share strategies that are backed by science, proven by research, and that even the world's top achievers use. You'll discover how a growth mindset can unlock hidden potential, why small habits lead to big results, and how tapping into your true self can lead to happiness and success. Ready to change your life? Stick around, because these books will teach you things you didn't even know you needed to know. Chapter 1. The Mindset Mastery. That ignited my transformation. A powerful mindset can be the key to success in any area of life. Carol Dweck's book, Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, introduced me to the idea of a growth mindset, and it completely shifted my perspective. The difference between a fixed and growth mindset is huge. A fixed mindset believes abilities are set in stone, while a growth mindset embraces challenges as opportunities to learn. According to Dweck's research, people with a growth mindset are more likely to push through obstacles, learn from criticism, and achieve success. I was surprised to learn that even the most successful people adopt this mindset. When I started believing that I could improve with effort and practice, I noticed a major shift in my motivation. One of the most fascinating facts from the book is how our brains are wired to grow. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change and adapt, is the scientific backing for a growth mindset. Your brain isn't static, it's constantly evolving based on your actions and thoughts. When I realized this, I stopped fearing failure and instead saw it as an opportunity to grow. Dweck's research also explains how praise can shape our mindset. Praising effort rather than innate talent helps develop a growth mindset. For example, telling someone, "You worked hard on this," is more effective than saying, "You're so smart." This shift in language is simple but powerful. I started applying this idea to my own life, embracing new challenges and learning from my mistakes. Instead of avoiding hard tasks, I began seeking them out. This one change led to bigger wins in my career, relationships, and personal growth. The key takeaway? Your mindset can either hold you back or push you forward, so choose a growth mindset. Chapter 2. The Power of Tiny Habits That Became Giant Wins in Atomic Habits by James Clear. I learned that small habits are often more powerful than grand resolutions. Clear explains that it's not the big, dramatic changes that lead to success, but the tiny actions you take every day. He calls this the 1% rule, meaning improving just 1% each day leads to massive changes over time. The most surprising part? The book shows how habits shape your identity. Clear argues that every time you repeat a habit, you're reinforcing your sense of self. For instance, when I started running just a mile a day, it wasn't about fitness, it was about telling myself, "I'm a runner." This subtle shift in identity made a huge difference. Clear also emphasizes the importance of making habits easy. The book introduces the concept of habit stacking. For example, if you want to start flossing, just stack it with brushing your teeth. This technique worked for me, and I now have habits like reading 10 pages every morning, which I never thought I'd stick with. It's all about consistency, not intensity. One of the most interesting statistics from the book is that 45% of our daily actions are habits. Think about that. Nearly half of your day is shaped by automatic behavior. This means that if we can get our habits right, we can drastically improve our lives without relying on willpower alone. The idea of habit tracking also stood out to me. I started using a habit tracker app to monitor my progress. Just seeing the chain of successes built up over time motivated me to keep going. The momentum became addictive. Clear explains the 4 laws of behavior change. Make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. By making small tweaks to how I approached tasks, I went from struggling with procrastination to feeling motivated and productive. Chapter 3. The Invisible Influence That Helped Me Rewire My Reality. In The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, I discovered how powerful habits are in shaping our daily lives. What stood out to me most was the concept of the habit loop. The habit loop consists of three parts: the cue, the routine, and the reward. Understanding this cycle helped me rewire negative habits and replace them with better ones. For example, I used to struggle with late-night snacking, and it was a hard habit to break. Duhigg's advice helped me identify the cue, feeling bored, and the reward, comfort. Once I understood the loop, I replaced snacking with reading, which provided the same sense of comfort without the unhealthy effects. Duhigg also dives into the science behind habit formation. He explains that when a habit is repeated, it becomes automatic. The more you repeat it, the more deeply it gets embedded in your brain. This process made me realize that changing a habit is not as hard as it seems. It's about identifying the right cues and rewards and repeating the new behavior. An interesting statistic from the book shows that 40% of our daily actions are habits that we perform without even thinking. That means a large portion of your life is controlled by automatic behavior. This is empowering because it means you have the power to reshape those habits. One of the most inspiring parts of the book is how companies use habit loops to influence consumer behavior. For example, Starbucks teaches employees to create habits that help customers feel good about their experience. This strategy boosts customer loyalty. It made me realize that habits aren't just personal, they influence our interactions with the world around us. I also applied the idea of keystone habits, which are habits that can trigger a ripple effect in other areas of life. For me, exercising regularly became a keystone habit. It not only improved my physical health but also boosted my mood, productivity, and relationships. Duhigg's concept of willpower was another eye-opener. Studies show that willpower works like a muscle. It can get stronger with exercise but also fatigues over time. This made me rethink how I approached my goals. Instead of relying on willpower, I focused on designing my environment to support positive habits. This approach was a game changer. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're finding these books and strategies helpful, make sure to hit the subscribe button for more life-changing tips. Chapter 4. The Fearless Rebirth. That unleashed my inner confidence. Brené Brown's daring greatly changed the way I view vulnerability. Before reading this book, I believed vulnerability was a weakness. But Brown argues that it is the key to building courage, creativity, and connection. She famously says, "Vulnerability is not winning or losing, it's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome." When I embraced vulnerability, everything started to shift. I became more open in my relationships, more honest in my work, and more authentic in my personal life. This shift didn't happen overnight, but as Brown teaches, it was through consistent practice of showing up, imperfectly, that I built true confidence. The book introduces the idea of shame resilience. Shame is a powerful emotion that holds us back from being our true selves, but Brown explains that we can build resilience to it. I learned to recognize when shame was creeping in and to respond with self-compassion, instead of self-criticism. A surprising statistic from Brown's research shows that 75% of people believe they are not worthy of love and belonging. This is a widespread issue that holds us back from fully engaging with life. By confronting shame head-on, I was able to let go of these limiting beliefs and truly connect with myself and others. Another powerful lesson is that courage is contagious. Brown shares research showing that when one person shows vulnerability, it can inspire others to do the same. I noticed that the more I embraced my authentic self, the more others around me felt comfortable doing the same. This created a cycle of trust and vulnerability that deepened my relationships. Brown's work has been instrumental in helping me reframe fear as a sign that I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. Fear no longer paralyzes me, it motivates me to take action and be more authentic. Her advice? If you're not in the arena, also getting your ass kicked, I'm not interested in your feedback. This quote pushed me to stop worrying about criticism and start focusing on my own growth. Chapter 5. The Journey Beyond Success. That redefined fulfillment in the art of happiness. The Dalai Lama and Howard Cutler introduced the idea that happiness is not something to be achieved, but rather something to be cultivated. This book challenged the Western notion that happiness comes from external success. Instead, happiness is a state of mind that comes from within. One of the key ideas from the book is the concept of inner contentment. The Dalai Lama explains that lasting happiness is found not in external possessions, but in cultivating a peaceful mind and a compassionate heart. This simple yet profound idea changed the way I approached success. I no longer measured my happiness by how much I achieved, but by how at peace I felt within myself. What stood out most was the discussion of mind training practices. The Dalai Lama emphasizes that the mind, like any muscle, can be trained. By practicing mindfulness and meditation, we can rewire our brains to focus on positive thoughts and emotional stability. I began incorporating meditation into my daily routine, and the results were incredible. Not only did my stress levels decrease, but my overall sense of well-being improved significantly. The book also delves into the importance of compassion, both for ourselves and others. It teaches that when we approach life with empathy and kindness, we create stronger bonds and a deeper sense of purpose. I began volunteering and practicing gratitude, and these small acts of kindness had a huge impact on my happiness. A fascinating statistic from the book suggests that people who practice compassion are more likely to experience greater happiness and less anxiety. The act of helping others actually rewires the brain to produce more feel-good hormones, like oxytocin and serotonin. This was a wake-up call for me to not only focus on my own happiness but to extend kindness to others. The Dalai Lama's words on human suffering also resonated with me. Suffering is not caused by external circumstances, but by the way we react to them. This quote helped me see that my reactions to challenges were more important than the challenges themselves. I began choosing to see obstacles as opportunities for growth, rather than sources of frustration. Chapter 6. The unseen forces that made me realize I'm never alone in the 7 spiritual laws of success. Deepak Chopra introduces 7 universal laws that govern success in every area of life. The most surprising lesson from this book was the idea of the law of pure potentiality. According to Chopra, when we align ourselves with the infinite intelligence of the universe, we tap into boundless potential. This concept gave me a deep sense of connection to something greater than myself, which brought a sense of peace I'd never experienced before. One key practice Chopra recommends is meditation. He says that by practicing silence and stillness, we can access deeper levels of creativity and insight. I took this advice to heart and started meditating regularly. What I discovered was that meditation doesn't just calm the mind, it opens it up to new possibilities. Chopra's concept of intention and desire also struck me. He explains that when we set clear intentions and then surrender to the universe, the flow of life unfolds in unexpected ways. This isn't about forcing outcomes, but rather about trusting the process. This shift in mindset allowed me to stop obsessing over results and focus on doing the work with dedication and joy. The law of giving and receiving taught me the importance of generosity in the pursuit of success. Chopra explains that the universe operates in a constant cycle of giving and receiving, and when we contribute to others, we create space for abundance to flow back to us. I began practicing the art of giving, whether it was a kind word, my time, or my resources. This practice has brought unexpected blessings into my life. The book also highlights the importance of detachment. Chopra suggests that we must detach from the outcome of our efforts in order to find true peace. This concept of letting go of the need to control everything was liberating. By focusing on the present moment and trusting the universe, I learned to find joy in the journey, not just the destination. An interesting study mentioned in the book showed that people who practice mindfulness and meditation experience lower levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. This gave me a tangible reason to continue my meditation practice, not just for peace of mind, but for my health. Chopra's teachings have had a profound effect on my life. He reminds us that we are all part of an interconnected web of energy, and when we align ourselves with the laws of nature, we unlock unlimited potential. This realization has brought me a sense of purpose and fulfillment that goes beyond material success. Don't forget to subscribe. If these books and strategies have been eye-opening for you, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you can continue learning and growing with me.